Welcome to Conservative Roundtable. Today is the day that we all have to go out and vote. Today's the day that we all have to go out and take our family members, friends, neighbors, and whoever is supporting Donald Trump for president. Go out and do it now. Let's run up the score. Let's make this a mandate. Let's make this a mission. The mission is to make America great again, and now's the time. We can't wait for tomorrow. We can't wait for November the 8th. Let's go out and get it done today. So I'm very happy and grateful to have Chris Garcia, the owner of Mail by Renee. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, John. It's a pleasure.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about subjects in corruption, subjects of the importance of voting, and more than anything, who we need to vote for. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there of who people should be voting for. And let's start out with the most important is November 8th and what we should be doing. Chris?
Yeah, I just want, John, you and Rolando said it. People need to get out and vote. I believe that this election, even though they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars and done everything they could to present Donald Trump in a bad way, I believe that this election, if you look at most of the major states like Florida, Ohio, California, Nevada, which I think might turn out to be the most important state in this election, I think they're all within the margin of error, all of them, even though they got President Obama or whatever you want to call him, Chancellor Obama or whatever, he's out campaigning, and like our friend Rolando said, I've never seen a sitting president this active in an election that's taking place. But he's got him, he's got his wife, he's got everybody, he's got aunts, uncles, everybody's out campaigning for Hillary Clinton, and yet it's still an even race. It's within the margin of error. So, it's very important for the people of Nevada, the people of Las Vegas to get out and vote early. If you think you might have any problems getting to the poll on election day, there's nothing wrong with getting out early. I saw they had lines at some of these malls. People are really getting out and voting. And I think that it's a dead heat. And I think that, they're going to try and do everything they can to pull us out for Hillary Clinton. But I just have a feeling that it's going to be a major surprise November the 8th when the elections come in, when the votes come in. I think that Donald Trump is going to be your president, and I pray to God that that's what happens.
Yeah, I think it is very close, Chris, just like what you're saying. It's a election that America is so evenly divided nowadays. Yes. It's a matter of who goes out and actually takes the time to vote. And there's many of you that have not voted in the past. There's many of you that have figured you don't like either candidate, so you're just going to stay home and let somebody else decide your vote. That's the wrong approach. Your vote does matter. It really does matter. If you believe in making America great again, you go out and you take your family members, you take your friends, you take your neighbors, and you take everybody over there with the idea of supporting Donald Trump for president, and vote all the way across the board for Republicans, all the way down the ballot, Republican, Republican, Republican. Let's make this a mandate. Let's make this a mission. The mission is to make America great again. And we don't got time to be having diversions or obstacles by people blocking up the process. We must have a president in the White House. We must have the majority in the U.S. Senate, the majority in the House of Representatives. It's time we make something happen for not only for us, but for our children, our grandchildren. The future of America depends on it. We cannot allow this to go on any further. If you're a Christian, if you're a member of any religious faith, you really want to protect yourself because they're taking away your religious rights in America. A lot of these government employees do not believe in God. They don't care about God, and they will care about only their structure. And their structure has been evil. So, God bless you. Go out there. make it happen, because it's really vital that we make America great again. You know, if you're a gun owner, if you care about the Bill of Rights, you'll take your family, friends, neighbors, everybody that's a gun owner you know, and go and vote. Do not put this off. It's vital. And, you know, I'm not saying to wait till November the 8th. You know, that is the last day. But let's run up the score. Let's go do it right now. Let's get it in the books, because if we don't, the media is all they're going to do is broadcast how many Democrats have voted and how many Republicans have voted.
That's right.
And they're going to be saying day after day after day, oh, the Democrats are going to have a landslide and they're going to beat Donald Trump and the Republicans, and don't waste your vote because it's over. Don't let the media tell you don't let them make the news. You know, don't let them make the news. This is your opportunity to be the great equalizer in life, in politics, in America. Go out and vote. It's that important. I'm telling you that if we don't get this done, we're all going to have a different America, a dark America.
Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. And, you know, I just feel in my bones, it seems like to me that I don't know what direction they're trying to take this country in, but I think they're trying to get us acclimated to a certain way of life where God does not have any part in this country, where religion has no part in this country, where gun ownership has no part in this country, where respect of your parents and law enforcement is no part of this country. Look at the direction where 100 million Americans, where we used to grow and make the food, we now are dependent on the federal government to feed us. 100 million Americans. What are they trying to acclimate us to, where there's no God, you're dependent on them to eat, and you can't talk about religion and politics? What are they getting us used to? Where are they taking us? What's the direction? While they're getting $50 million contributions from kings around the world to certain foundations, and you know, it has come out that she has a public opinion and a private opinion. What are they saying in private about us? Well, we know they think that people that support Donald Trump, which is support freedom, we're deplorable. So what exactly, and young black men are predators. These are things that she has said. So what are they saying in private about us? And let's not wait till after the election to find out. Let's send a message that we know what you're saying in private about us, and it's different than what you're saying in public. And so we're not going to elect you. We're going to put somebody in there that is honest with the American people, that has put forth a contract with the American people, has outlined what he wants to do as far as term limits, as far as everything. He's been honest and upfront. And a lot of people, I don't think, like that. I don't think they like honesty. They want the status quo. They want things to continue the way that they are. And that's a disaster. We can't take another 4 years of this.
Well, I think most Americans do want America to be great again.
Yes.
You know, Donald Trump just put out his 100-day plan.
Yes.
When he's elected president. And I'm just going to go over the 10 items here, and if you want, we could talk about that. That would be really good. Middle Class Tax Relief and Simplification Act, end the Offshoring Act, American Energy and Infrastructure Act, School Choice and Education Opportunity Act, repeal, replace Obamacare Act, Affordable Child and Elderly Care Act, End Illegal Immigration Act, Restoring Community Safety Act, Restoring National Security Act. The one I'm so happy, because this is what Conservative Roundtable is all about, and that is Clean Up Corruption in Washington Act.
Right.
Although I wish he would say Clean Up Corruption in all of America, because it's just not going on in Washington. It's all over, from local, state, and national. Corruption is messing up America.
That's right.
It's costing us taxpayers money. It's costing. We're losing our future if we don't get this corruption, the law and order back in the proper format. I know when I was born in the 50s, it seemed to me that the world was perfect. You know, when I was a little boy, I mean, I didn't even know what a problem was.
That's right.
I mean, I had such a good childhood that, you know, I didn't realize there was actually problems until I became an adult. Then I said, oh, my God, what happened? They've been hiding all this stuff from me.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Corruption is, you know, they say drain the swamp, What do you think about draining the swamp?
Absolutely. I mean, if you and that's why they're fighting so hard to stop him from being elected. Because if you're a sitting corrupt official, you got to be shaking in your boots. If he's talking about draining the swamp, he's talking about you. He's coming for you. If you are a corrupt official and you're not in office to help the American people, he's going to drain the swamp, and it starts with you. So Paul Ryan and the rest of you corrupt officials who are claiming that you're Republicans, and John Kasich and the rest of you that will not show support for Donald Trump, if he gets elected, I guarantee you, Mr. Ryan, one of the first things he's going to do is he's going to want a new speaker. He can't wait for the elections to take place for your seat, because I think, win or lose, they're going to get rid of you as Speaker of the House. And you know that. I think you're shaking in your boots because you got up in front of the American people and basically you're taking Hillary Clinton's side, and you're a sitting House Speaker of the Republican Party. I've never seen that before in my entire life. Never. So we'll see if you get elected when your term comes up very soon, and that's everybody else that didn't support the nominated person to run for president of the United States. Like Rolando said and John said, if you wanted somebody else, you had 17 other chances. The people spoke. They voted for Donald Trump. They want him to respect election night and what happens. Why don't you respect the fact that he's the Republican nominee? You keep asking him to keep contracts. Why don't they keep contracts? He won fair and square. The people voted. More people voted in the Republican primaries than in history. He brought new people in. He brought independents in. Listen to the will of the people, but you want him on election night to accept a rigged an election if that's how he feels, because I would feel like things were rigged if the people in my own party aren't supporting me. That's never happened in history. That would seem kind of funny to me. So if you want him to accept things, then you need to accept the fact that he is the nominated nominee of the Republican Party. The people voted for him. Record numbers. I think they're going to come out in record numbers on November the 8th, and I think the Democrats are going to be shocked. And Hillary Clinton, you're finished. You need to retire, take your husband, go run your corrupt, I don't know what that is when 90% of the money doesn't go to the cause it's supposed to go to. It goes in your pocket, and that's why you've spent $800 million on this campaign. But you'll be done on November the 8th, and you and all your other, what was the word you used? Angry woman, or what is it?
Nasty.
Nasty. You and all your nasty women can go retire somewhere and spend that money that you're taking for your the Clinton Foundation. I don't know what that is, but
you know, Chris, draining that swamp also includes the media.
Absolutely.
You know, many people don't realize that a lot of these broadcast stations are connected with FCC licenses.
Absolutely.
And the president has the power, and Congress has the power to hold them accountable for putting the truthful news on the air. I think there has to be accountability with FCC licensing. Mm-hmm. If these broadcast networks aren't doing their job, they need to be revoked. Their licensing needs to be revoked and put on a media that tells the truth to the American public. We need it. We depend on it. And those are government licensing, and they have to be held accountable. Congress needs to do their job. The president needs to do their job. And so far, they're not doing their job. So if the public does not get mad and hold this media accountable and hold and drain that swamp, we're in big trouble. Because one thing many people depend upon when they turn their TV on, when they turn their radio on, they expect the truth. They don't expect the lies to come out.
Right. Let's start with Anderson Cooper. Let's call it what it is. Let's start with him and the rest of that CNN mafia that they can't tell the news if it's on a teleprompter. I mean, it's so scripted. It's so one-sided. I remember when CNN first started, and I used to watch CNN as a kid. That was the place to get your news. I mean, they reported the news. It was what it was. It was unbiased. What has become of CNN? What has become of MSNBC? I mean, you might as well call them the Hillary networks, because that's what they are. I thought you were supposed to report on what's going on. I thought you were supposed to give equal time to both candidates. And you know, it's so funny. He put out that contract, and you know what they talked about? They talked about the one sentence that he said for like 15 seconds when he said, "I'm going to sue the accusers that have falsely accused me of doing sexual misconduct after the election." It took 15 seconds. And when you cut on every channel after he spoke about his first 100 days, his contract with America, that's the only thing they talked about. Not all of the good points, the tax cuts, and all the other things. All they talked about was the fact that he said, first 15 seconds when he came on, "For all of you accusers that are wrongfully accusing me of this sexual misconduct, I'm going to sue you after the election." 15 seconds, and that's all they talked about for an hour. It's ridiculous. It really is.
You know, that's a really amazing thing, that they're going after him on stuff that supposedly happened years ago. You know, why wait for the last 3 weeks? The media's had this information for a year, but they wait until Donald Trump doesn't have time to get a defense together.
Absolutely.
They think that they're going to just drop this on and have these individuals not to be held accountable. Well, I guarantee you, Donald Trump does not forget people that betray him.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, every one of these women, like you say, will be held accountable for their actions.
Absolutely.
You know, something that also just came out is that the federal government now is trying to get veterans to repay a bonus to them that they got when they legitimately went in and were given bonuses to serve in the military.
Right.
And now the government says, you know what, you served, but now we want our money back.
Unbelievable.
What a disaster. I mean, it's like, come on, let's get it together, folks.
Unbelievable.
You know, if people can't trust the federal government, which it doesn't seem that they can, if you believe the old statement, the federal government is and help is on the way, you know what, you're setting yourself for trouble, man. Don't do it. You look out for yourself. What do you think about that?
I think it's deplorable. I mean, you know, why don't we just, you know, how can you send people into harm's way and they volunteer and you sign a contract with them, as you sign a contract when you go into the military, and you give them a bonus and you know, let's face it, I mean, we all have military family members. John, you serve. God bless you. Thank you for your service. I mean, the truth of the matter is, it's not the highest paying of jobs. You're underpaid, honestly, for what you do. And then you want to take their bonus back on top of it. And then when they come back and they go to these vet hospitals, they're treated like garbage. I mean, the mental things that they go through and the physical things that they go through, and they're scarred. It's tough to get back to work. It's tough to find jobs, and then you want the bonus back. Why don't you just kick people when they're down? It's unbelievable, the direction, and I know Donald Trump is going to stop that when he becomes president. That's ridiculous. That's definitely a Barack and Hillary idea. There's no doubt about that. How people can cast a vote for a third Barack Obama term. I mean, Obamacare, we don't even want to talk about that. That's a disaster. And now, even the people that helped him come up with Obamacare, even the top economists are saying that it's a disaster now. And they're not getting the amount of people to go into the program. So now they're going to have to subsidize and pay more into the program, the federal government. Well, guess where that money comes from? That comes from taxpayers. So expect your taxes to go up to pay for Obamacare. They lied to the American people when that was one of the main things that he ran on, was health care, and that it was going to make it easier to get health care. It was going to help mom and pop businesses. It was going to help the middle class. People have less choices. Their premiums are going up. And now our taxes are going to go up to pay for a failed health care insurance. So when Donald Trump says in the first 100 days, the first thing he's going to do is repeal Obamacare, God bless him, because he wants to cut taxes, not raise taxes. Well, you're listening to Conservative Roundtable. My name is John Estrada. My guest here is Chris Garcia. If you you want to call in and ask a question or give a statement or give a position, that number is 702-983-0711, 702
983-0711, Conservative Roundtable. The big news of the day is grab onto your family, friends, neighbors, support, vote, and elect Donald Trump for president. Every vote counts, even those that we don't believe we can get. Try and don't give up, because America deserves the best. You know, another really big issue of the day is all lives matter. You know,
not just Black lives, John.
You know,
all lives.
I'm tired of the Democrats trying to divide people. You know, it's like Black Lives Matter for them. It's like a woman's right to choose. It's like they try to break up everything that is American. Let's put it this way, folks. All lives matter in America. Law enforcement, Black lives, everybody matters. The unborn. The unborn. Can you imagine that Hillary believes they don't have a constitutional right to live?
No.
And they can wait till the very last minute and sell those body parts of a baby through Planned Parenthood.
Absolutely.
Isn't that evil, folks? If you don't believe that's evil, you know, I'm sorry to say, you better say some prayers to God.
Absolutely.
Because it is the most evil thing to kill a baby. Now, think about this. I guarantee you that if a drunk driver would run in and kill a pregnant woman, there's going to be 2 charges against that person, for the baby and the mother.
Absolutely.
If both die.
Absolutely, John.
So why is it they can do that in a criminal matter, but yet the unborn has no constitutional rights?
Absolutely.
Are you trying to tell me that everybody that's been convicted 2 times for killing, that somehow that's unconstitutional?
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know if you know any attorneys in town, but based on what the Democrats believe, they should not be in prison.
Absolutely. It's ridiculous. You know, this.
And you know, for folks, if you really do subscribe to the idea that Black lives matter, you know what? Look at the Black babies that are being aborted. Look at the Black families that are losing young teenagers in gang wars and the streets of Chicago and the major cities. Thousands and thousands and thousands, more than wartime. This is a war zone. And you know, this is a campaign about war. If we don't get this together for all lives, you know, God's going to put some pretty bad stuff down on our table if we don't get our act together.
He already is. I mean, we're losing the conscience and the spirituality of this country. Is just, I mean, you don't even hear people talk about God anymore. You know, all people talk about is himself and talk about this, that, the other, and you know, none of us would be here without the grace of God, and you know, it was just so weird. I'm so thankful to have the parents that I had, because, you know, my parents could have sat around and did nothing and made children that they didn't take care of and sent us to, you know, some of the worst public schools in the country in Chicago, and they didn't. They worked very hard. They worked multiple jobs. They sent all of us to private schools outside the neighborhood, and that was from grammar school on through high school. And we were thankful, because every single day I remember coming up, and they even used to have this in public schools, but you know, you said the Pledge of Allegiance every day, that you put your hand over your chest and you said the Pledge of Allegiance, which they're also outlawing out of schools. And then because we went to Catholic schools, we went to church. That was the first hour of every single day. So, you know, and then I had a military dad, so, you know, God, family, country. That's what it was all about. And when we went to school, it was about God, family, and country. And you know, these children they're not even raised in that type of situation anymore. You know, you get what you put in. And if we're not putting anything into our children, these are the results that we're getting. All you have to do is look around, and they don't respect law enforcement. That's why they challenge law enforcement. They don't respect their parents. That's why they challenge their parents. They're bringing guns to school because they don't respect the teachers and the principals and their fellow students. So what we're putting in, this liberal idealism, look at what we're getting out. Do you remember school shootings when you were going to school? Mass shootings and people killing children in schools and students bringing guns to school. That didn't exist when we were coming up. Why now? Why is it happening? The liberal media is trying to let you believe it's because they're guns. There were guns back then also, but people respected one another, and children had fear of and respected their parents and their teachers and the principals and police officers. Now, when they tell them to do something to command, they challenge them. I mean, and what are these poor teachers? What are they supposed to do? I mean, you've got to look at some of these overcrowded inner city schools where they have 40 and 45 children, and you have children just acting out in the middle of classes, disrupting, and the teacher tries to go over and discipline the child or remove the child from the class, and they're sued. What are they supposed to do? They can't discipline the students.
Well, it's unfair that, students are sitting there and there's disruption in the class. That means that they're being cheated of their education.
Absolutely.
And so it's really shameful.
It is.
And so, the other big issue of the day is, do you want open borders and unlimited illegals coming into America? Not me. Support, vote, elect Donald Trump to secure the border and stop the decline of America.
Absolutely.
Make America great again. If you want to talk about immigration, the number is 702-983-0711. That's 702-983-0711. What do you think, Chris, about having an open border like Hillary Clinton wants?
Scary.
That allows so much to come through. What do you think?
It's scary. It's terrifying. I know ISIS has got to be having a party. They probably can't believe. It's just unbelievable. We don't know who these people are that are coming in our country, but they're definitely going to use the open borders to come here. They are isolated people, frustrated people. I had, luckily enough, prejudice is always killed when you're educated and when you've been exposed. And luckily I was exposed to Islamic people, to Muslims when I was a child.
Sure.
I went to the mosque with a lot of people. They are some of the most loving, peaceful people.
Oh, yes.
These jihadists have stolen their religion.
Yeah.
And defamed it. That is not what Muhammad taught. That is not what they believe. And they're angry, they're isolated, and they're going over here listening and basically joining gangs, because let's call them what they are. They're radical groups, they're gangs. They don't believe in the sanctity of life. They don't believe in women's rights. They don't believe in anything. And then they're coming back to this country through these open borders, and they're angry, and they've learned how to make bombs. And they've learned, and God knows eventually what they're going to learn how to do. And as we're losing control of the nuclear arsenals all over the world, who knows what they're going to be capable of doing and what materials they'll be able to get their hands on and use to, kill millions of American lives. And she wants more people to come in. And all Donald Trump is saying is that we need to vet these people. I mean, he has to be vetted to run for president of the United States. He has to go through some of the most serious background checks this country can have just to run for president.
And a lot of falsehoods, too.
Absolutely. But you want to let people come in from Syria and Libya and some of these other places without doing background checks on them? That's all he's saying. We have to have a border. We have to have a wall where you have to stop. You have to fill out paperwork like any other country.
And that's when you have the vetting process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the big jokes of the week that really cracked me up, I could not believe the statement by Barack Obama, and that is, quote unquote, "We have not had a major scandal in my administration." Barack Obama actually had the balls to say that. And I don't know if anybody remember that. Do you think the victims of IRS targeting, Salandra, Fast and Furious, and Berganzi would agree with that statement? I mean, it's amazing how he has a very selective memory and is very, and the major media went along with it.
Absolutely.
Not one major scandal.
Absolutely. And besides the anemic growth, was it 1%? GDP growth. It's just amazing, and they continue. Here it is, 8 years later. They're still blaming George Bush for his 8 years for the economy. I mean, it's just, what other job could you take over and blame the person that used to be in your position for your failures? What other job in the world would they not fire you if they hired you for a job? Even if the person before you did a horrible job, they hired you to fix the problem. He has not fixed the problem. The economy is a disaster. Obamacare is a disaster. Our military is a disaster. Safety in this country, the respect around the world, everything is a disaster. Now they want 4 more years, open borders, more people on food stamps. Black Lives Matter. Really? I mean, but you're killing innocent babies every single day through abortion. You want to take away our rights to bear arms. It's ridiculous. And you call that a success? Well, Chris, you should be fired.
Chris, you just set out a perfect list, a perfect example that Americans deserve and need change. We don't need a status quo. We don't need the same establishment. We don't need a bunch of career politicians not doing our job, the job for Americans. These guys are all holding hands, trying to make the world a better place, while Donald Trump wants to put America first. Let's make America great again, and then let's help some people out.
That's right.
But we've got so many internal problems here, folks, and Chris has just laid them down one by one. We need to go out and do what is right. We need to go out. If you're a gun owner, if you're a pro-life movement, if you want smaller government, if you're tired of big government, if you're tired of regulations, I'm pro-business, small business, big business. I want that because I truly believe that's the way we're going to get America back on the right way, is to create jobs for new taxpayers, because there's getting fewer and fewer taxpayers. We need to open the door for more taxpayers, people that are living the American dream. The statistics is that if you haven't worked for 5 years or more, you're never going to get a job again.
That's right.
90% chance of never getting that job again. I don't know about you, Chris, and I know what you're going to say, is that this is ridiculous.
It is. It's a joke. And to show you how corrupt they are is that after you've been out of the workforce for so many months, they don't even include you in the jobs report anymore. So they basically wipe their hands of you and say you don't exist. If you've looked for a job for so many months and you can't find a job, you're not part of the job reports anymore.
Do you really truly believe the government statistics nowadays?
Absolutely not. I mean,
whatever they tell us, it's corrupt and can't be believed.
It's incredible. There's so many things that they leave out. I was an economist. I worked for the Chicago Board of Trade in Chicago. I traded mutual funds and we did futures and options. I did that for 3.5 years of my life, and they don't include the farms report. There's so many things that they leave out of unemployment. The actual number is closer, probably, I believe, to about 24-25% full unemployment in this country, and in the African American community, I think it's closer to 40%. So that's ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about almost half of all African Americans.
All right, so let's just look at this, okay? So if 40% of African Americans don't have a job, how do they pay their way?
Absolutely.
What does that tell you?
Absolutely. But they're building more prisons.
In order to take care of their families, they become criminals.
Absolutely.
And the end result is more prisons.
Absolutely.
So the bottom line is what? We create jobs for them.
That's right.
So they could take care of their families, so they could be responsible.
Sounds like Donald Trump.
What comes first? What comes first?
That's right.
The job or the prison?
That's right. That's right, the job. Absolutely.
Let's create more jobs in America.
That's right.
Elect Donald Trump for president.
That's right.
If you want to talk about this or any other of our subjects here, 702-983-0711. If you're running for office and you're conservative, you're Republican, please call in. We'd like to hear from you. We want to know about your campaign. If you want to stop by and see us, we're here Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our office address and studio is 717 South 9th Street in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're broadcasting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and the Radio Tribune Network, broadcast network. I'm very happy to be here with Chris Garcia, mail by Renee. Chris, tell me about your business.
But before I do that, I want to say this to any listeners that we have. This station, I believe, and I'm thankful enough in my own personal life to have a relationship with God. Rolando has been carrying the torch by himself for years. He now has Don, who has always helped him with the newspaper. He now has myself, and he has my wife. This station is going to grow by leaps and bounds. We are here for a reason. God has brought us together for a reason. There are other stations around the country that are on the internet, that are on YouTube, that are on other satellite radios, and I think we are going to be the voice of the American people, even though they try to shut us down and shut us out. There's nothing like when you connect, and God, for all of the things that is wrong with the internet, maybe God in his wisdom saw that, his will was going to try and be diminished and shut out, and through the internet, we can connect with people directly, to the American people, without having to go through some of the more left-wing political ways to get our message out. This station is, I believe, going to be blessed. I think it's going to be very important. And if you'd like to be a part at the ground level, to be a part of this station, you need to call in, you need to participate, and find out what you can do for Radio Tribune, because I think we're going to be blessed. I think we're going to be extremely important, and I'm not being arrogant, but I just feel like God is in charge, and he is on the throne. He always will be, and I think this is going to be a very important radio station, and I'm blessed to have this opportunity, and my mentor has given us this opportunity, and John has come in, and he does fabulous work. It's a fabulous show, and my wife is doing a great job producing the show, and I just think that from this little office, big things are going to happen. So if you'd like to join in, one day I think we will be very busy, and you will try and get on through the radio, or you will try and come on as a guest, and you might be in a long waiting list. So right now is the time. If you would like to get your message heard, come sit in. We would love to have you, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party. It does not matter. You face the Tribune or Conservative Roundtable. We love everyone to come and have a discussion. That's what this is all about. And just voice your opinion. As long as you love America, and, we're going to differ on our opinions, but we all love America. We're all patriots. So, John, just thank you for the opportunity to sit in on the show with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'm not one that believes the polls, because I've learned firsthand that polls lie. Time and time again, the media manipulates the polling results to make it seem like either their candidate is winning the race. They discourage. The media has their methods to make it sound like the race is over. Mm-hmm. And so try not to pay attention to the polling. If you do look at the polling, take it with a grain of salt and just take a look at it and just say, oh, that's interesting. And then what you do is you don't take a look at one poll, you look at all the polls dealing with that one race. Today in the Las Vegas Journal, it shows that Donald Trump is losing Nevada. However, if you look at some of the other polling, it shows that Trump's leading. So now tell me, if a poll is really legitimate, don't you think they would all be the same?
Exactly.
So what does that tell you? It's based on the way they say the questions. It's based on personality. It has a lot of different factors. Some polls, they do likely voters. In other words, not registered voters. To me, that's more of an accurate number, likely voter. If somebody's been to the polls often, that means that chances are they're going to vote again.
Absolutely.
If you go with the registered voters, let's face it, most registered voters don't vote.
That's right. That's right.
So, if you have more Democrats in that polling and less Republicans, what's that going to tell you?
Absolutely.
Common sense tells you that that's manipulation, that's fraud, that's corrupt. And then the media turns right around and utilizes that to broadcast, Hillary Clinton's winning. Folks,
Yeah.
it's just really deceitful, and it's a big lie. Don't believe it. Go out and vote. Take your family, friends, neighbors, and go vote now. Don't wait for November the 8th.
Absolutely.
Let's run the score up. If you want to talk about this or any other subject, the number is 702-983-0711. 702-983-0711. Now you can talk about Mail by Renee, right?
Yes, you want a fabulous downtown address. You come to Mail by Renee for $10 a month. CN will get you started. You will have a wonderful downtown address. The number is 702-626-0716. 702-626-0716. And you will have a fabulous downtown Las Vegas address for $10 a month. Mail by Renee. We are proud supporters and of Radio Tribune and of Conservative Roundtable.
So corruption at the highest level and corruption at the lowest level. If you go out and you break the law, and if you're a criminal, you would think that there'd be justice for all.
Absolutely.
You would think that you would be held accountable. You do the crime, you should do the time. You should be punished for that. There's really honest ways to make a living, and that is you have to work hard. You got to work smart. You got to get educated. If anybody thinks that there's an easier way, there is no easier way. That's the way you do it, folks. You go out there and you do it day after day. Some people think it's too hard, or some people think it's doing too much. Some people want to be, they just want to be gangsters. Some people want to be criminals. But if you really want to lead a life of freedom and liberty, and you want to live a life of happiness and not be locked up, do it the right way. Go to school, get a good education, be the best you can be, and work hard, work smart, get a job, and and don't ever give up. Don't let anybody ever tell you, well, you're black, or you're Latino, or you're white, or you're poor. Don't believe none of that stuff, because it has nothing to do with about nothing. It's all about you. You have the power to make a difference in your life, because guess what? You're in control of it. The other very important thing is dreams. Dream big, because I tell you what, those dreams belong to you. They belong to you. You have every right to do whatever you want with your life. As long as it's legal, you're going to be fine. Chris?
Absolutely. That's what I really feel sorry for is as Rolando said earlier, we're on the other side of the hill. And I just remember, like you, John, I didn't know what problems were when I was young. I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And, we say that, we didn't know because our parents maybe, kept it from us or whatever, but they were able to, because, those were things that, you were allowed to dream as a child, and you could become whatever you wanted to become. And so many of these children growing up today, their dreams have been taken from them before they even reach high school. Their schools are dilapidated, underfunded. It's dangerous to even go to school in some of these neighborhoods today in these inner cities, and their role models are the guys that are hanging out in the corner. They don't have role models anymore. You talk about, we used to dream of being a doctor, a lawyer, or a fireman, whatever we wanted to be, and it was possible because the communities were safer. Our parents were at home, and you went to church. God was in your life. You had structure, and it's children need and actually expect structure. They look to you for structure.
Chris, you're very blessed and fortunate that you had a great role model, your father.
Yeah.
And so did I. I had a great role model. And that's what America needs. They need good role models that are fathers. I guarantee you, if that would just go throughout every city, state, and nation here in the United States, and we fathers became better fathers and be a role model for our kids and do what it takes to make America great again, that would solve a lot of problems.
Absolutely. And I talk about the reason, and I say that liberalism is against God. It's against Christianity. And the reason is that they want to be in control. They don't want God to be in control. And when did you, and I have to say this on both sides, but in every debate, God wasn't brought up to me. They're both rich. They both have been very successful in their lives. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. But they wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for the grace of God and for the things that God has blessed them with and the opportunities that He's given them. And, there's too much many-godness going on out here. And they're trying to make decisions. The reason that they want to make decisions for everybody is because she believes she's a mini-God and she knows what's best for you. Well, you don't know what's best for us. God knows what's best for us. And He was thankful enough to have prophets and to have apostles and disciples that He talked to, and they wrote a great book. It's called the Bible. They should pick it up sometime. And He left us instructions on how to live our life and the history of our life and where we came from and the fact that He made us, and He made Adam, and He made Adam in His image. And so He gave man domain over the earth, over the world, and He made Eve from Adam's rib. There's nothing wrong. My mother was educated. My mother was a Cuban immigrant. She educated herself. She wound up going to college here, went to Roosevelt University in Chicago, got a master's degree. There's nothing wrong. I believe that women should get paid equally to men if they work. I think women should have all the rights that every other citizen should have. But there's no replacement, John, in my mind. My mother was a great influence on my life. My mother was a fantastic mother and worked very hard and took care of us. But there's no replacement for a father in the home. And there's no replacement for a father that is a God-fearing man and has discipline in his life. I think that the problems in this country is because, Hillary Clinton had a dad. Chelsea Clinton had a father that was the president. So they should be ashamed of themselves to institute programs that take the father out of the family. And that's exactly what these programs do. Because they all had fathers, and that's why and part of Bill Clinton's problems and some of the things that, he's going through now as a man and some of the destructive personality traits that he have is because, he grew up without a father. And I believe that had a lot to do with why he treats his wife and treats his family the way that he does, because there was a family missing out of his house. And one of the main things about a God-fearing man, my father was a very strict man. He was a disciplinarian, but the love for his wife and the respect that he had for his wife is why I respect my wife the way that I do. And I love my wife the way that I do, because if you're any kind of a man and you believe in God, you know that woman is there to be at your side and to serve you, and your job is to serve her and to protect and take care of her. So, that's why I believe that Donald Trump, even though I haven't heard much about, their religious beliefs, all I have to do is look at the way he's taking care of his family and his wife. His wife adores him. And so he cannot be that bad of a womanizer, because his wife is beautiful and she could have picked any man that she wanted to, but she picked him. Because I think that he's a good man. I think he's a God-fearing man. His children are fantastic, and they adore their father as well. So that says something about the man. But you look at the Clinton family, and they're just built on lies to me. They're built on deceit. We know about the womanizing that he's done in his life, and it's just, I think Donald Trump, to me, I don't know where they're getting this. He doesn't respect women from, but it seems like the women in his life have a lot of respect for him. So,
well, I think there's no question about that. I did have a chance to meet Laura Trump. That's Eric's wife, and she was so amazing. I was very, very grateful to have met her, because you could feel like that family is very intelligent. It's very loving.
Absolutely.
When they go out and they campaign for their Donald Trump, they're the head of the family, because he is the head of their family.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that everybody in their family has a head of the family, and the father is typically that role, or it should be that role. I'm from the old school, but I tell you what, you need a mother, you need a great father, you need
Yes.
both great family members, good parents, to create great children. And anybody that tries to think it's not important or that doesn't matter, folks, it does matter. Having a family is vital.
Absolutely.
And anybody that misses that link, either a father or a mother, I guarantee you in their lifetime they're going to have problems. They're not going to be stable.
Absolutely.
like having a good mother and a good father.
Absolutely.
I was blessed and I was fortunate. I had a good mother, a good father, and I love them, and they did so much for me to make me be balanced in my life. To be able to understand what life was all about. And, I had a mother that she held me accountable, and a father that would support me no matter what. Good, bad, or ugly, he was there for me, very loyal to the last days.
We talked about the balance. Balance is so important in your life.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have two parents, it gives you balance.
And so I would say is that break the chain. If you don't have a good father, or if you don't have a good mother, I guarantee you, when you start your family, remember, that's vital. You want to break the chain of bad lives. Get a good family. Stay with a good family. Build on that success and break that chain of ugliness and awfulness in the world.
Absolutely.
Too many times they want to take away the rights of fathers. They want to. One thing that the government likes to do is take the rights of grandparents.
Absolutely.
I truly believe that they need rights to be given to grandparents. When the kids, they, for whatever reason, get into drugs or get into criminal activities, they would rather turn the kids over to strangers.
Absolutely.
Than the grandparents.
It's crazy.
Now, to me, the best love comes from a family. And so that's one thing, familyhood, and that is vital to the success of anybody. So let's make America great again. Let's vote for Donald Trump for President of the United States. Tomorrow we are going to have a very, very important guest, Dennis D'Souza from the movie Hillary's America. Will be on at 1 o'clock for Conservative Roundtable. It is pretty amazing. He's well recognized throughout America, and he's been interviewed by all the major channels, and we're fortunate to get him on Radio Tribune tomorrow.
Wonderful.
And I think that's good news that we're going to start looking for getting some of these good people to call in and meet with us, and so we can get the truth out to you, because I believe Conservative America is the best network possible.
Wow.
Chris Garcia, thank you so much for being my guest and our guest, and Conservative Roundtable thanks you. Rolando Lares, thank you for being a good friend and a champion for the truth.
Absolutely.
And Cian, thank you for being a great producer. And we want to thank you, America, for being with us, because we're going to make America conservative with your help. Thank you, and God bless. Everybody have a great day. Thank you.